My name is Maisie Savage. I'm 31 years old. 7 years ago, on the morning of the most important interview of my life, my father laughed directly in my face and said, "Girls like you don't get lives, Maisie. You get duties." Right at that moment, my mother stepped in front of the door, blocking it with her whole body, while my younger sister dropped a massive diaper bag at my feet, smirked, and said, "Watch my daughter. I have brunch." They didn't care. Not even a little. I had one single chance at a real future. And they wanted me to stay their unpaid servant, forever. So I stepped over that bag, walked through the kitchen, out the back door, and never looked back. For 7 years, they assumed they had broken me. They were completely wrong. And now, the tables have turned in ways none of them ever saw coming. My sister is about to find out just how expensive that brunch truly was. Before I tell you what happened, you need to understand something about my family. We weren't poor. We weren't uneducated. From the outside, we looked perfectly ordinary. My father owned Savage Climate Control, a small HVAC company in Riverside, Ohio. 8 employees. Good reputation. Church-going family. 2 daughters. On paper, we were fine. But inside that house, there was a system. And I was at the very bottom of it. My sister Bryn was 2 years younger than me, but you'd never guess it from how my parents treated her. She was the golden one. The pretty one. The one who got pregnant at 19, and somehow, that made her more valuable, not less. Her daughter Olivia was a beautiful little girl. Blonde curls. And she had my eyes. Olivia's first word was, my. Her first steps were toward me, not toward Bryn. That should have told me everything. But I was 20 years old, and I believed that helping family was simply what you did. It started small. "Maisie, can you watch Olivia for an hour?" Then it was 3 hours. Then all day Saturday. Then overnight. By the time I was 22, I was essentially raising my niece while Bryn tried to become a lifestyle influencer. And I mean that literally. She started a blog called Mommy in Motion. 14 followers. 12 of them were relatives. She posted gorgeous photos of Olivia in boutique outfits my parents had paid for. She wrote captions about motherhood and sacrifice. She never once mentioned that I was the one doing the actual mothering. The blog failed. She tried essential oils, lost $800. Tried photography, booked one wedding, delivered the photos 3 months late, got a terrible review. But my parents never once told Bryn to get a real job. Instead, they told me I needed to help more. "Your sister is building something," my mother would say. "You're just here." I was more than just here. I was answering phones at Savage Climate Control every morning by 7. I was scheduling 4 field technicians across a 6-county service area. Processing invoices. Managing the customer database. Handling accounts receivable and payable. When the office manager quit in 2017, I absorbed every one of her responsibilities. All of them. My father never gave me a title. Never put me on payroll. When I asked about payment, he said the same thing every single time. "Family doesn't pay family, Maisie. This is how you contribute." Bryn's got the babies to think about. Babies. Plural by then. Tyler arrived when I was 23. Another mouth to think about. Another diaper bag to carry. Another nap schedule taped to my refrigerator. I did the math one night when I couldn't sleep. 35 hours a week at the office. 30 more watching Olivia and Tyler. 65 hours of unpaid labor every single week for 3 straight years. Minimum wage in Ohio was $12 an hour. That was over $65,000 I had quietly given them. But, honestly, it was never really about the money. It was about the fact that they had turned my entire 20s into a waiting room for everyone else's life. In March of 2019, something shifted. I'd been quietly taking free online courses at night. Google Project Management Certification. Excel. Basic HR Principles. I didn't have money for real college, But I had Wi-Fi, and I had Olivia's nap time. I learned. I studied. I built a resume that tried very hard to make office manager for a family HVAC company sound professional. I applied to 60 jobs over 4 months. Meridian Consulting Group was the only one that called back. The phone screen went well. The Zoom interview went better. Then they invited me to Columbus for an in-person final round. Executive assistant to the CEO. $63,500 a year. Benefits. Professional development. Travel opportunities. I read that email 30 times. I printed it out and hid it under my mattress like a teenage diary entry. It was my exit visa. The interview was scheduled for Monday, April 15th, at 2 in the afternoon. I needed to leave the house by 11:30 to catch the 12:05 bus to Columbus, 105 miles away. Far enough to breathe. I told my parents I had a dental appointment in Toledo. I borrowed a navy blazer from my friend Jenna, slightly too big, but professional enough. I practiced interview answers in the bathroom mirror. I researched Meridian until I could recite their mission statement in my sleep. At 10:45 that morning, I came downstairs with my purse and my folder of resume copies. Black slacks. White blouse. Borrowed blazer. Hair in a neat bun. $17 and a bus ticket in my wallet. My mother was standing directly in front of the door. Arms crossed. Lips thin. That expression on her face that meant the decision had already been made. Without me. Where do you think you're going? I told you. Dentist. From the other room, Bryn's voice. She has a brunch meeting with a potential blog sponsor. Very important. You need to watch Olivia and Tyler. My chest tightened. I can't today. I have. You have duties, Maisie. My father walked into the hallway holding his coffee mug. He wasn't angry. He was amused. That's what you have. Then Bryn walked in through the side door. Tyler on her hip. Olivia trailing behind with her stuffed rabbit. She looked at me, no apology, no acknowledgement, just pure expectation. She set Tyler on the floor and dropped that diaper bag at my feet. Heavy thump. Olivia needs lunch at noon. Tyler naps at 1. Don't let him sleep past 2:30 or he'll be up all night. I'll be back by 4. Probably. I can't, I said. My own voice sounded far away. I have something important. Bryn laughed. Actually laughed. More important than family. My father took a sip of his coffee, looked at me like a disappointing employee, and said, "Girls like you don't get lives, Maisie. You get duties. That's just how it is." I looked at Olivia. 4 years old. Blonde curls. My eyes. My. Play blocks. Her little voice. Her complete trust. I looked at her. Then at the diaper bag. Then at my mother blocking the front door. Then at my father leaning against the wall. Then at Bryn, already turning away, fully confident I would stay. I looked at the clock on the wall. 10:49. And I did something I had never done before in my life. I stepped over that diaper bag, walked past Bryn, past my father, through the kitchen, to the back door. My mother's voice behind me. Maisie, and if you walk out that door. I opened it. The April air hit me, 47 degrees and overcast. The kind of gray morning that feels like it might rain. I walked down the driveway, turned left, and started moving toward the bus station. 1.2 miles. In $12 Payless flats. My phone buzzed 6 times. I didn't look. I passed Savage Climate Control on the way. The sign with my father's name on it. The place I'd given 3 years of unpaid labor. I kept walking. I made it to the Riverside bus station at 11:58. 7 minutes to spare. The woman at the counter didn't ask why my hands were shaking. The bus pulled out at 12:05. I sat in the back row and watched Riverside disappear through the window. I thought, I'm free. I didn't yet understand what that freedom was going to cost. Part 4. The Interview and the Sabotage. The bus arrived in Columbus at 1:57. The interview was at 2. The Meridian office was 3 blocks away. I ran. Actually ran, in those flats, purse bouncing, folder clutched to my chest. I arrived at the lobby at 2:02, breathless and slightly sweating. Patricia Holland was waiting. Chief of Staff. Mid-50s. Sharp gray suit. Kind eyes. She smiled when she saw me. "You made it." I almost cried. Instead I smiled back and said, "Wouldn't miss it." Panel interview. 3 people. Patricia, CFO James Reeves, and Nicole Hendris from Operations. They asked about software skills, calendar management, discretion, handling difficult clients. I answered well. I described my work at Savage Climate Control. I called it a small HVAC company with 8 employees, without mentioning it was my family's business. Nicole leaned forward. "You're self-taught in project management?" "Yes. I completed Google's certification while working full-time. I'm very motivated to learn." Patricia made a note. "What would this position mean to you?" I was careful. Honest. It would mean building a career instead of just surviving. It would mean growth. The interview ended at 3:15. Patricia walked me out. "We'll be in touch within a week. You're a strong candidate, Maisie." The bus ride back to Riverside felt different. Lighter. I'd done it. I'd walked out. I'd made it there on my own. I'd answered every question. I had a real shot. What I didn't know, what I wouldn't know for 7 years, was that my mother had already started dismantling it. I came home to silence. Packed my old duffel bag. Clothes for 5 days. Laptop. Phone charger. My folder of certificates. $127 in cash. My mother appeared in the doorway. "You embarrassed this family today." I zipped the bag. "I'm leaving. You'll be back." I looked at her. Really looked. "No. I won't." I slept one final night on the floor of my childhood bedroom. The bed was covered in Bryn's laundry. Left at 6 the next morning, placed my key on the kitchen counter, and took the Greyhound to Toledo. My friend Jenna had a studio apartment and a couch. She asked me one question. "You okay?" I said, "I will be." She handed me a blanket and didn't push. I slept on Jenna's couch for 17 days, applying to jobs every morning, checking my email obsessively. The reply from Meridian came April 23rd. "Dear Maisie, thank you for your interest. After careful consideration, we have decided to move forward with another candidate." Generic. Professional. No explanation. I read it 20 times looking for clues. Found nothing. Cried once in Jenna's bathroom. Washed my face. Applied to 15 more jobs. What I didn't know yet was that the day after my interview, my mother had sent an email from a fake account, concernedneighbor209@gmail.com, directly to Meridian's HR department. That email was sitting in my file. Flagged in red. Do not hire, family concerns. But on April 23, 2019, I simply believed I had failed. I got a cashier job at Target in May. Moved into a cheap studio in Toledo in June, $425 a month, no AC, loud neighbors. But it was mine. I saved every penny. Applied to office jobs every night. In December, I landed a temp position at a law firm, $16 an hour. Then COVID hit. Layoffs. Survival mode. $3,200 in savings and unemployment benefits. I sent a birthday card to Olivia every single year. April 3rd. Her birthday. Never received a single response. But I kept sending them. June 2020. Scrolling LinkedIn at 11 p.m. rent due in 8 days. And there it was. HR Coordinator, Meridian Consulting Group, Columbus. The same company that had rejected me was hiring again. I stared at that posting for 3 hours. Then I applied at 2 in the morning. Different email address, updated resume, Jenna's Columbus address. Phone interview. Zoom interview. Offer on July 2nd. $45,000 a year. HR coordinator. I sat on my apartment floor when I got that email and called Jenna, sobbing. I did not call my family. July 13th, 2020. I walked into Meridian Consulting Group, the same building where I'd interviewed in April 2019. Different entrance, different role, completely different version of myself. This time, I'll make it stick. The first year was relentless. I stayed late, asked every question, volunteered for everything. Nicole Hendris, one of my original interviewers, now VP of Operations, noticed. "You're good at this. Have you thought about HR certification?" "I've thought about it. Can't afford it yet. Company has tuition reimbursement. Look into SHRMCP. I'll sponsor you." I studied at night. Passed in January 2021. First professional credential with my name on it. I framed it. After that, things started moving faster. June 2021. HR specialist. $52,000. March 2022. Senior HR specialist. $61,000. August 2023. HR manager. $76,000. A team of 3 reporting to me. April 2024. HR director. $98,000 a year. An office on the 4th floor. A window facing the Columbus skyline. My name on the door. Maisie Savage, HR director. I took a photo of that door and sent it to no one. Just kept it for myself. I'd built something real. Something that was entirely mine. No one had handed it to me. I'd climbed every single step. I thought that was the full circle moment. I was wrong. April 8th, 2026. Tuesday morning. I was reviewing applications for a project coordinator position we'd posted 2 weeks earlier. 89 applications. I was scrolling through the spreadsheet, names, emails, phone numbers, when I saw it. Bryn Wright, formerly Savage. My coffee cup stopped halfway to my mouth. My sister had gotten married. Danny had finally committed. The Riverside area code on the phone number confirmed it. Bryn didn't know I worked here. She didn't follow me on LinkedIn. She had no idea. I clicked her application file. The resume loaded. Clean, professional template. Header, Bryn Wright, project coordinator and operations specialist. I scrolled to work history. And that's when I saw it. Savage Climate Control, Riverside, Ohio. Operations Manager. January 2017 to December 2019. Bullet points below. Managed daily office operations for 8-employee HVAC service company. Coordinated scheduling for 4 field technicians across 6-county service area. Processed invoices, maintained customer database, handled AR/AP. Reduced scheduling conflicts by 35% through improved systems. Maintained 98% customer satisfaction through effective communication. I read it 3 times. Every single bullet point was my work. The exact years I'd worked there unpaid. The exact duties. Even that 98% satisfaction figure. I had personally calculated that in 2018 using customer feedback forms. Bryn had worked at Savage Climate Control for exactly 0 days. She had stolen my entire work history. I scrolled to references. 3 listed. First, Gerald Savage, owner, Savage Climate Control. Former supervisor. My father. Who would absolutely lie for her. I had 2 options. Flag the application for conflict of interest. Recuse myself. Move on. Or, follow standard protocol exactly. Treat it like any other application. Let the process play out. I chose option 2. Before scheduling anything, I opened Meridian's applicant tracking system and searched Maisie Savage in archived files. 2 results. Application dated June 9, 2020, HR Coordinator. Hired. Application dated April 8, 2019, Executive Assistant to CEO. Rejected. I clicked the 2019 file. Interview notes from Patricia, James, Nicole. All positive. Self-motivated. Impressive initiative. Strong candidate. Then, HR notes section. Red flagged entry. April 16, 2019. 9:23 a.m. Received email from concerned party regarding candidate stability. Recommend do not proceed. Attachment link. I clicked it. PDF opened. Email dated April 16, 2019. 8:47 a.m. From concernedneighbor209@gmail.com. To whom it may concern, I am writing as a concerned community member who knows the Savage family personally. I feel it is my duty to inform you that Maisie Savage, who interviewed with your company yesterday, has significant personal and mental health issues that make her unsuitable for professional employment. On April 15, Maisie abandoned her 4-year-old niece during a family emergency. The family has been very worried about her increasingly erratic behavior. She has never held steady employment and has a history of walking away from obligations without notice. I read it twice. Then a third time. Every sentence was a fabrication or a deliberate distortion. Agreed to provide childcare. I'd been ambushed and trapped. Never held steady employment. I had worked unpaid for 7 years. Erratic behavior. I had simply left. The sender, concernedneighbor209@gmail.com. I checked the email metadata. Sent from Riverside, Ohio. IP address traced to a residential location. My parents' home address. My mother had sent this the day after my interview to destroy my only chance. They hadn't just blocked the front door. They had burned the bridge behind me. And for 7 years, I had believed I simply wasn't good enough. I had been sabotaged. I picked up my office phone and dialed Savage Climate Control. It rang 3 times. Savage Climate Control. Jerry speaking. My father's voice. I hadn't heard it in 7 years. I kept my tone professional. Cold. Measured. Hello. This is Maisie Savage, HR Director at Meridian Consulting Group in Columbus. I'm calling to verify employment for Bryn Wright, who listed your company as a previous employer. Long silence. Maisie. Yes. Can you confirm Bryn Wright, formerly Bryn Savage, worked at Savage Climate Control from January 2017 to December 2019 as Operations Manager? Another pause. Then, yes. That's correct. Can you describe her responsibilities? She managed the office, scheduling, invoices, customer service. She was very good at it. Did she work full-time? Yes. Full-time. Very reliable. Would you rehire her? His voice grew more confident. Absolutely. Bryn was one of the best we had. Every word was false. And I had it recorded. Legal in Ohio under one-party consent. I asked one final question. During that same period, January 2017 to December 2019, did you have any other employees performing those same operations manager duties? Pause. No. Just Bryn. That was the lie that mattered most. Because I existed. I had been there. Thank you. That's all I need. I hung up, saved the recording, and wrote one line in Bryn's file. Employment verification completed. Discrepancies noted. Recommend in-person interview to clarify. I wanted to look her in the eye. The invitation went out a week later. Dear Bryn, thank you for your application. We would like to invite you for an in-person interview on Monday, April 14, 2026 at 10 a.m. You will meet with Maisie Savage, HR Director. She responded the same day. Thank you so much. I'll be there. Looking forward to it. No recognition of my name. No pause. No question. 7 years of separation, and Bryn had never once looked for me. I briefed Jonathan Reeves, our CEO, and Nicole. Candidate has potential resume fraud. Let me lead. They looked at each other and said, okay. April 14th, 2026. 9:55 a.m. I sat in the conference room, Jonathan and Nicole flanking me, watching the lobby through the glass wall. 9:58. A woman walked in. Brown hair. Familiar build. Nervous smile. Business casual from Target. Clutching a portfolio folder. Bryn. Older than she'd been in 2019. 29 now. Tired around the eyes. Trying very hard. She approached reception, said her name, received her visitor badge. I stood. Walked to the lobby. Made eye contact. She looked up. Saw me. Froze. I extended my hand. Completely professional. Bryn. I'm Maisie Savage, HR Director. Welcome to Meridian. Her face drained of color. Her handshake was clammy. Maisie, I didn't know you worked here. 7 years is a long time. Things change. Please follow me. The first 20 minutes were standard. Jonathan and Nicole led with general questions. Bryn answered adequately, nervous but prepared. Then Nicole leaned forward. I see you worked at Savage Climate Control. Walk us through that role. Yes, I was operations manager for 3 years. Small family business. I managed everything, scheduling, customer service, billing. It taught me a lot about wearing multiple hats. I took notes. No expression. Family business. Yes. My father's company. I see. What years again? 2017 to 2019. Full-time. At 10:22, Jonathan said, Thank you, Bryn. We'll take a short break. Maisie will continue with a few follow-up questions. They left. Door closed. Just me and Bryn. She looked at me, really looked, for the first time. Maisie, I didn't know you'd. I held up one hand. Let's talk about your resume. I slid the printed copy across the table and pointed to the Savage Climate Control section. You listed Operations Manager, January 2017 to December 2019. Is that accurate? Yes. Full-time. 40 hours per week. Well, it was flexible, family business, but I did the work. I called your reference. Jerry Savage confirmed you worked there full-time as operations manager. He said you were one of the best he had. I don't understand what you're. I worked at Savage Climate Control from January 2017 to December 2019. Unpaid. Full-time. Doing the exact job listed on this resume. Every bullet point here, I wrote them. Because they're my accomplishments. You took my work history and put your name on it. Her face went red. Then white. Then red again. I needed a job, Maisie. I have 3 kids. Danny left. I'm completely alone. I just needed something on my resume that looked real. 10 seconds of silence. Then I slid the second document across the table. The email from April 16, 2019. What is this? An email sent to Meridian HR the day after I interviewed here, 7 years ago. From concernedneighbor209@gmail.com. It claimed I was unstable. That I'd abandoned your daughter. That I was unemployable. I don't understand. It came from your mother. I traced the IP address. It came from your parents' house, the day after I walked out. And for 7 years, I thought I'd simply failed that interview. I didn't know until last week that I'd been sabotaged. I didn't know about that email. But you were there that morning. You dropped that diaper bag at my feet. You watched me leave, and you let them tell everyone I'd had some kind of breakdown. Maisie, I was 22. I had a 4-year-old and I was pregnant. I was drowning. I needed help. And I had a life-changing interview. I needed one morning. You chose. They chose. And I lost the job because of that email, without ever knowing it existed. Bryn's voice rose. You left us. You just walked out like we meant absolutely nothing. I left because I was drowning. You turned me into your unpaid nanny. They turned me into free labor for 7 years. And the one day I tried to save myself, you blocked every exit. Bryn broke. Not delicate tears. Ugly, desperate, heaving crying. I felt nothing. I had cried all my tears years ago. Then Bryn said the sentence that broke everything open. You don't know what it's been like since you left. Everything fell apart. We needed you. That's when I noticed the conference phone. The small red light was on. The call was active. My phone lit up. Text from Nicole, Maisie, conference line. 12 people listening. System glitch. Line connected early. 12 participants. Jonathan, Nicole, senior managers, client stakeholders, Patricia Holland, my original 2019 interviewer. They had heard everything. From, let's talk about your resume, onward. I looked at the phone. I could have ended the call. I could have shielded her. 7 years ago, I would have. Instead, I reached over and clicked the mute button, then unmuted it clearly, deliberately, making sure the audio was clean. The truth deserves witnesses. Bryn was still spiraling, completely unaware of her audience. Mom said you'd come crawling back. She said you'd fail. But you didn't. You got this job, and you didn't even tell us. You let us believe you were nothing. Do you know what Dad says about you? He says you're selfish. He says you abandoned your family. I'm not judging you, Bryn. I'm conducting a background verification. And you lied on your resume. That's fraud. It's not fraud. I helped at the company. Occasionally. While I worked 40-hour weeks. Unpaid. You claimed my job, my work, my accomplishments, and our father lied to verify it. We're family. You're supposed to help family. I did. For 7 years. And the day I tried to help myself, you blocked every door. Bryn stood up suddenly. You think you're better than me because you have some fancy director title. You're nobody. You'll always be nobody. Girls like you. She stopped. Because I was staring at her, completely still. Finish that sentence, I said quietly. She sat back down. Her face collapsed entirely. My office phone rang. Jonathan's voice. Maisie. End the interview now. Security is outside. Understood. I looked at Bryn one final time. This interview is over. The door opened. 2 security officers. Professional. Not aggressive. Ma'am, we need you to come with us. Wait, what? Why? Fraudulent application. Company policy. Maisie, please, I'm sorry. I just needed this. Please don't do this. I'm sorry, Bryn. I can't hire someone who committed resume fraud. I have to protect this company's integrity. Security led her to the elevator. She looked back once. My face was calm. Not cruel. Not triumphant. Just done. I walked back to the conference table and spoke clearly into the speaker. This concludes the candidate interview. Formal report by end of day. Thank you. Disconnected. I sat alone in that room for 5 minutes. Didn't cry. Didn't celebrate. Just sat. Jonathan called me in. He was there with Nicole, Patricia Holland, and General Counsel Michael Brennan. I thought, I'm fired. Jonathan leaned forward. That was one of the most professional handlings of a conflict of interest I have ever seen. You followed protocol. You documented everything. You gave her every opportunity to be honest. Are you okay? I was genuinely surprised. Yes. I'm okay. Nicole. We heard everything. The 2019 sabotage. The resume fraud. All of it. I'm so sorry you went through that. Patricia. Maisie, I was your interviewer in 2019. I never saw that email. I was simply told to move on to other candidates. If I had known. Michael, our general counsel, we have recorded evidence of employment fraud. Reference fraud. 12 witnesses to her admission. You also have documented evidence of deliberate sabotage of your 2019 application. You have grounds for legal action if you choose. I don't want legal action against my family. I just want it on record. And I want to make sure Bryn can't do this to another company. Jonathan nodded. We'll flag her in our industry network. Professional consequences. Not personal revenge. Nicole handed me a tissue. I hadn't realized I was crying. The next 48 hours were chaos. Bryn called my work line 12 times. My father left a voicemail. This is a family matter. You had no right. My mother called Meridian's main line asking for me. Bryn showed up in the lobby. Security turned her away. My father appeared, refused to leave. Police were called. He was escorted out for trespassing. April 16th. I hired a lawyer. Sent a cease and desist to all 3 family members. No contact via phone, email, or in person. Any violation would result in a restraining order. 3 weeks of silence. Then, a message I never expected. May 8th, 2026. Instagram DM to my professional account. Hi. This is Olivia. Bryn's daughter. Your niece. I'm 11. I know you probably won't answer, but I wanted to say thank you for the birthday cards. I kept all of them. Mom threw them away, but I took them out of the trash. I have 7 cards from you. I keep them in a box under my bed. I don't know what happened between you and my mom. She won't talk about it. Grandma says you abandoned us. Grandpa says you're selfish. But you sent me cards every single year. That doesn't seem like abandoning. I found your LinkedIn because Mom was looking you up and crying. I saw you work at a big company. I think that's really cool. I want to work at a big company someday too. I'm not asking you to talk to Mom. I just wanted you to know I got the cards. And I miss you. I don't really remember you, but I miss you anyway. Olivia. I sobbed for 20 minutes. Then I replied carefully. Olivia, thank you for your message. I'm so glad you kept the cards. I think about you every single year on your birthday. I hope you're doing well in school and that you're happy. You're a brave kid for reaching out. I'm not ready to have contact with your mom or your grandparents right now. But I'm glad to hear from you. If you ever need anything as you grow up, advice about school, careers, life, you can message me. I'll always respond. Take care of yourself. Aunt Maisie. She replied the same day. Thank you. That's enough. 1 month later, another message. Mom got a job at a call center. She's mad all the time. But I got an A on my English essay. I wanted to tell someone who'd care. And I did care. That was the relationship I saved from all of it. August 15th, 2026. An email from Patricia Holland. Maisie, I've been going through old files since our conversation. I found something. In 2019, we were going to offer you the executive assistant position. I had drafted the offer letter. Salary, $63,500. Start date, April 29th, 2019. It was ready to send. Then HR flagged your file because of that email, and I was told to stop the process. I never sent this. You deserve to know you had earned it. I'm sorry we failed you. Attached is the unsigned offer letter, dated April 22nd, 2019. 7 years too late. But I wanted you to have it. You were good enough then. You're exceptional now. Patricia. I printed it. Framed it. Hung it next to my current business card on my home office wall. The validation I'd quietly needed for 7 years. I had been good enough. I had earned it. They had stolen it. But I had built something better anyway. April 15th, 2027. 8 years since the back door. I'm still at Meridian. Actually, I was promoted in January. VP of People Operations. $115,000 a year. I launched a mentorship program for young professionals from controlling family environments. It's small and quiet. But it matters. I still hear from Olivia. She's 12 now, thriving despite the chaos at home. We talk about books, school, her future. I'm not her parent. But I'm someone who sees her. That's enough. My parents relocated to Florida. No contact. The cease and desist held. Bryn is working in retail management back in Riverside. She blocked me on every platform. I heard she's doing okay. Not great. But okay. I'm dating someone now. Slow. Healthy. No rush. I have $34,000 saved. Good credit. I own my car outright. I have genuine friends. I go to therapy every other week. I have a life I built from nothing, from a borrowed blazer, $17, and a one-way bus ticket. This morning, I was training a new HR coordinator. 22 years old. Nervous. Eager. She asked me, "How do you spot resume fraud?" I smiled. Look for gaps. Look for inflated titles. Look for claims without evidence. And always verify with the actual employer, not just the reference they provide. Have you ever caught someone? Once. It was personal. But I handled it professionally. That's the key. You can have history with someone and still do your job with complete integrity. She nodded and took notes. I looked at my calendar. April 15th, 2027. I had typed a note years ago, the day I walked out, and never deleted it. The day I chose the back door. Below it, one word I'd added later. Free. If this story meant something to you, if you've ever walked out a back door, or you're still standing at one right now, trying to decide, share this with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, the front door isn't the only exit. Sometimes the back door is the one that saves you. Some doors you walk away from. Some doors close behind you. And some doors, like the one I stepped through 8 years ago, lead exactly where you were always meant to go. Thanks for listening.